Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford at studio. You know, it's a bit of the dog days here, March 24th. There's not a lot's going on. Spring football practice, well, is spring football practice, but it's in its infancy this season as it plays through, heading up to the Grove Bowl on April 24th. Ole Miss plays baseball Thursday against Alabama, but last night they beat.
Want to bet?
Okay, sorry. They play Alabama this weekend in college baseball. We'll discuss that for a minute today. Yeah, fair enough. The forecast is not kind for baseball on Thursday
I'll do
night.
double or nothing on Dragon Con. How about that?
All right, fair enough. So we kind of exhausted our NCAA tournament coverage. Ole Miss basketball's done. The women play in the WNIT Final Four at some point. And more. But, you know, occasionally you get the gifts from the heavens. Yesterday that happened. Bruce Feldman, our friend of the pod, he sends out a list of his top 25 coaches in college football. It's absent a name, so we'll talk about why. We'll talk about who's on the list and more coming up on the Oxford Exxon Podcast. The Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch special is $5.69, 2 sides of bread, 32-ounce drinks. Go check out the hot case, pork, chicken, side items, and much more, as well as the Speed Pass Plus app, because when you download it, you earn points and save money. Where with the Oxford Exxon, again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are indeed. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle. No haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. Let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place this weekend to watch Ole Miss Alabama baseball once it does happen to start, and it will at some point. Watch that. You can watch the NCAA tournament. You can watch, whatever else is on. You can hang out with your friends, enjoy the great food there at Rafters, burgers, po' boys, and more. Great beer selection, full bar, the whole deal. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
Yeah, the quick news, before I forget it, in case we get in the Lane Kiffin train for a while and don't come back, is Peyton Chotney sat out last night's game against Central Arkansas. Ole Miss won 5-2. It was one of the most boring midweek games you could ever watch, to be honest. But it didn't last 4.5 hours. It moved pretty quickly. It was under 3 hours. They got in, got out.
Then that's
good.
fine.
It was the perfect midweek game. Sorry.
Thank you.
Ole Miss won. There was really no drama from that standpoint as far as the message board melting down. And that thing was over fairly quickly last night. It was all right. There were 3 first-inning runs and only 4 the rest of the game.
Yeah, one cannot complain about a midweek game that goes in under 3 hours.
2:41.
Oh, that's fine.
2:41 last night.
That's fine. Started at 6:30?
Yeah.
So it ended at 9:11.
Yeah. You can't.
No, you could be through with your writing by 10.
Oh, the Zoom took a little longer yesterday, but I'll tell you how boring of a game it was. Last night, and if anybody's seen the video somewhere, I don't know. I don't think we put it up, but nonetheless, Mike sat down and nobody raised their hand to ask a question on the Zoom, and after like 10 seconds, he was like, "All right, enjoyed it, appreciate it," and then finally everybody's like scrambling, like, "Okay, let's keep you around for a minute." But Pierce started off. He goes, "I have nothing about the game," and Mike goes, "Okay, whatever do you have?" And we talked injuries for like 5-6 minutes or whatever, but it was the most nondescript baseball game in the history of the world.
Well,
it was just whatever.
To Parrish's credit,
yeah,
that's transparent. That's, hey, I'm only on this because you play Alabama this weekend, and
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you about the state of your team going into that series.
Well, I think it's the thought all the media members had is, hey, if somebody really wants to recount this Central Arkansas thing, y'all have at it, and I'll come in a minute, and we'll talk about whatever else. And then when nobody else said anything, it's like, oh, okay. Because even, I tell you what happened, that was actually kind of funny. So Parrish goes, "I don't have anything about whatever," and Mike goes, "Yes, Doug Nikhazy starting on Friday in the middle game. Is that what you're going to ask?" Parrish goes, "Yeah." And he kind of like, whatever. And then, nonetheless, Chotney did not play last night. It freaked some message boarders out. It freaked some fans out. Mike said that when you're overcoming a hamstring injury, that sometimes when the scar tissue starts breaking up, it gets a little sore. And he said there are no problems. He didn't re-injure it, but he just had a little bit of soreness, so they were being as precautious as humanly possible and held him out of the Central Arkansas game last night.
Hamstrings can be very nagging,
so they're being very
recurring
careful
injuries.
With the hamstring. He did not play. Nikhazy threw a bullpen, looked fine. He will play on Friday. Gunnar Hoagland will probably play on Friday too, but nonetheless, Max Schofield will travel, but they're not really sure of his availability. They think he can give him an inning, but they are not possible. It's close enough to being available that he's worth one of the 27 spots if he can go. So Mike's gambling a little bit there.
Sure.
With that 27th spot to see if Schofield can give him an inning of relief. And then maybe the bigger news from a watching coverage standpoint, I did not know this. He said the league passed a rule this year that if – I don't think a shortened game can finish, but if there's a complete washout, you have the ability on a Thursday-Saturday series to stay and play on Sunday. You're not confined to that 3-day window.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah. You didn't see this?
Are you telling me that even though there's no class on Sunday and both teams agree to it,
and it's a 2-hour and 50-minute bus ride, give or take,
that you would allow the window of competition to be extended
into a fourth day?
You are going.
I mean, we're groundbreaking in the SEC.
So you're going to allow common sense to take hold. Wait a minute. If there's anything I've learned in the last 13 months.
Do you mean to wet blanket you, though, or do you want to keep going?
I knew there was a catch.
Okay.
There was no way. There was no way. Well, I was talking through it, and I was going to ask you, there's no way that suddenly the SEC is going to say, you know what, we're going to be ruled by common sense. The end. There's got to be a catch.
Blake, what do you mean by can they start early? No, they cannot play on Wednesday. For a couple of different reasons. A, you just never move it up like that. And B, Thursday night is an ESPNU 6 o'clock game, so they're going to hold firm on that time slot until Mother Nature does not allow that time slot to be played. That's
sure. And moving it up means that they have to travel another day early, which now you are completely getting away from class, and they are student athletes.
Now we're running into some issues.
Yeah, now that's dumb.
Yeah. Well, no, this appears to be an Alabama thing more than a league thing. Mike said that from his conversations, I guess, with Brad Bohannon, that should Thursday wash out, he expects a Friday doubleheader instead of hanging around for Sunday. He thought they would play 2 9-inning games on Friday.
Because that's what Alabama wants?
I don't know who gets to make that decision and who doesn't get to make that decision. It did sound like that was an Alabama decision that they would do 9, which Mike's cool with that because it prevents the Sunday doubleheader where you play 7 innings. Mike has the better team, so you want to play more innings. You don't want to shorten the games for anybody, especially from a pitching staff standpoint when their ace is out.
Well, you'd prefer not to play a doubleheader at the end of a weekend where you're playing into Sunday evening or something, and you're getting into recovery times for the next week.
Yeah, so I expect if there's a rain out, no, they would not move up to 4 o'clock because of TV. If there's a rain out, I expect 2 games on Friday, 1 game on Saturday.
Okay,
it's kind of what I think as this thing moves forward. But after that, there was really not much that came out of last night at all. They used Taylor Broadway. I know people were asking about that. He was completely sharp. He struck out all 3 batters he faced. He's fine. He'll be available tomorrow should Ole Miss need him. It was probably a little bit of a toss day anyway. There was no stress on his pitches at all. Central Arkansas never got anybody on. They were up 3 runs. I was a little surprised Mike used him just because it was a save situation. Mike admitted that's kind of what he did. But otherwise, no, it will have no impact on the weekend at all.
For those that wonder, the forecast in Tuscaloosa for Thursday
has completely cleared out. All good.
During the day, strong thunderstorms likely, damaging winds, large hail, and possibly a tornado with some storms. High of 77, chance of rain 90%. Thursday night, thunderstorms during the evening. Skies turning partly cloudy overnight. A few storms may be severe, low of 56. Chance of rain, 90%. Friday, get a little better. Partly cloudy, high of 78. No 9% chance of precipitation. 9. Friday night, 63, variably cloudy with scattered thunderstorms, a low of 63. Chance of rain, 46%. And then on Saturday, scattered showers and thunderstorms, high of 83. Chance of rain, 44%. 65% on Saturday night, and in case you're wondering, a 61% chance of rain on Sunday.
Okay.
So you'll get what you'll get, and you'll like it.
You'll get 2 games on Friday and 1 game on Saturday.
That's what it sounds. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, it sounded like it had already kind of been put in motion a little bit of like, hey, when this goes exactly like we know how it's going to go, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
we'll do this instead. I mean, they're still going to travel today and do their rigmarole and the whole deal. But
They better find a safe place. I'm kidding.
First floor instead of fourth floor.
You know.
Mike likes the Embassy Suites and stuff because they get the free breakfast in the mornings, the hot breakfast. That's.
He's a Hilton guy. I'm a Hilton guy. I'm with him.
What do you think they do with those points? Because I bet they get a lot of points. I mean, you get a lot of Hilton Honors points.
Maybe Mike takes that Hawaiian vacation.
Oh, you think so?
I doubt
he gets
it.
to do that. Hey, just put them on Mike Bianco. Don't worry about it.
You do wonder who does get all those points.
Or does the team just use them themselves?
I don't
you
know.
Cash them in the next season?
I guess you could cash them in. There'd be a lot of points.
Oh, you between the card to pay for it, and I mean, you could get you a Hilton Honors Amex. You really can run these things up.
I used to have one of those pups.
I've got one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like nine points $1 or something like that. That's what it is.
That's a lot.
Oh, you could roll that thing.
I mean, I've got
some ops guy somewhere is going to like Tahiti.
I've got hundreds of thousands of points just sitting in my balance. I need to do something.
Because you don't need them much anymore.
I don't travel much.
Yeah. Did you have to sign some waivers and things to get your voice used in the hype video yesterday? A lot of red tape, a lot of paperwork going on.
I was unaware what people were talking about until I saw it in the mailbag, and I was like, "What are you?" I had to go find it.
Definitely was though.
Sounded like my voice.
Yeah.
But no one reached out to me.
They did not.
No,
your voice was in the public domain.
As you know, I'm not exactly hanging out with.
Blake says they have a contract, no points. So do they get discounts? Like what? I mean,
don't know.
To me, points would make more sense.
I'm sure they have a deal.
You could block. I mean, a lot of rooms.
A lot of rooms.
I mean, your traveling parties, 40 to 45, something like that.
If I'm Mike, I'm like, hey, here's my Hilton Honors number.
Run that thing through there.
Hey. 40 rooms, 3 nights.
Do some math. Yeah. 7 times a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
40 times 3 is 120 times 7. Yeah. That's
a lot of points.
840 nights.
Diamond status.
Oh, platinum. Parking in the front row.
They say, you can park in the front row of the Hilton Garden Inn. They got that. They got those just for the Diamond members right up front.
I always wonder who goes out and enforces that, like if you're...
You don't get like a hang tag.
No.
Because that's actually one of the perks of the credit card is you get Diamond status automatically with the card. I don't know what that
That's a
does.
lot of Diamond members.
Well, yeah, because I mean...
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, what's it matter? So, anyway.
I've often told that story. That was the day that I knew that I had to get off the Auburn beat. Was the day that I walked into the Hilton Garden Inn in Auburn, Opelika, and the girl said, "Hello, Mr. McCready, welcome home."
You went, oh, God.
I was like, oh, my God. Would you like your room?
Your room.
Mm-hmm.
So you had one room that you got more often than not.
3/4 of the time.
Really?
To the point where when I didn't have that room, I felt weird.
What was the room?
It's like 204. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, okay, normal football season, how long are you there? How often are you there? It's like 5 nights a week, right?
So I would get there on Friday. If Auburn was at home, I would get there on Friday, and I would check out on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And come back on Friday.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then if Auburn was on the road, I would check in on Sunday and leave on Wednesday. And
You're
then
doing
come
4 to
back on
5
Friday.
nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
For 12 weeks.
Yeah, and in basketball season, I'm still there a lot.
You still stay in the same place.
Yeah.
Why did you stay there versus somewhere else?
Points.
Oh, was it just a points thing?
Yeah. Actually, I'd been doing it for like 2 months, and the girl at the front desk said, "Why have you not joined the Hilton Honors program?" And I'm like, "Is it worth it?" She goes, "Oh, you definitely should."
Yeah. You get some stuff.
And sure enough,
You get a Coke and a candy bar in your bag when you check in.
I pretty much was on the honor system.
On the little the canteen, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I could just go grab stuff and leave a little note.
Yeah. $204 for me.
Yeah.
Piece.
Yeah.
Charging me the $1.98 for the Twix
I mean,
bar.
no joke. I mean, I could just go.
Rate it.
I was there. Yeah, I just get whatever, and I'd leave a little note on the desk if the person was not there. Here's what I took. And sure enough, it'd be on my bill.
What really?
Oh, yeah.
Grind asking, just curious, who do y'all think will win the SEC West in baseball? Anybody get over 18 wins? If so, who's most likely to do that? If somebody gets over 18, they had one hell of a season.
And they
in the
won.
SEC West. Yeah, I mean, multiple teams are not getting over 18. I don't think that's 19 and 11 is a number this year in this league. That's tough.
Probably Ole Miss or State.
Because pitching.
Yeah.
Arkansas has the worst starting pitching of the three, so I would pick Ole Miss or State if somebody just got red hot.
They may have the best overall lineup.
Yeah,
but I think Ole Miss and State both have better pitching,
and their bullpen's pretty good.
But their bullpen's good. There. Yeah, if they get to the late innings, they're a good team.
Yeah, so I would think Ole Miss or State. Both of them has sputtered some offensively. State though, I don't know what they did last night. State, or if they've even played. State's last 9 games, their team ERA is 0.53.
That's pretty good.
That'll win a lot of baseball games.
Won't lose many.
No, that will play, as you would say. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go with that if I had to, something like that. But nonetheless, we'll talk about our main topic in a minute. It is Lane Kiffin and Bruce Feldman's list. Before we do that, I'll tell you about Northeast Spark, SPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, 100 Mbps or 1 gig, powers the Clark Ford studio. It's called The Blaze. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com or 662-238-3159. Phone service, network security, wireless mesh extenders, as well as parental controls. So, again, call them. Find out if they're in your area. It's getting more and more every single day. 662-238-3159.
If you're ready to play at M-Trade Park, registration has started. It's actually got about a week left for both youth baseball and softball with the Oxford Park Commission. Cost to play both sports is $50 per player. Leagues available for ages 5 to 14 in softball and 5 to 17 in baseball. May 24th is the start of the season. July the 2nd is the end date. The deadline to register is April the 4th, oxfordparkcommission.com. We're also brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry. Lammon's at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. Been serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century, basically, from engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, everything. They've got it there at Lammon's Fine Jewelry, lammonsfinejewelry.com, 662-234-2777. And we're brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Go to Muddy Water Outdoors. Check out all of their selection, all the camo stuff, hats, T-shirts, jackets, vests, everything there at muddywateroutdoors.com. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. The name you can trust. They bring more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience to Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Comer Heating and Air. They have a special preventative maintenance agreement that you can check out and get your cooling system running in tip-top shape. 662-801-1777. And we're brought to you by the College Corner, your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area, one in Flowood, one in Ridgeland. And you can also go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi.
Podcast is brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. Actually, I had to send him something a couple days ago, and I said, "What is his email address?" And I went, "Are you kidding, Chase? You read this 5 days a week, 3 years now." Seriously, I had to think about it for a second. All right, we'll get into football. Got a couple of topics, but if we need those, we can do them later. Bruce Feldman ranking NCAA football coaches. It would not be college football coaches. That's redundant. Kind of like I kept seeing WNIT tournament. It's like, guys, the T is tournament. It's not.
Yes.
They play in the SEC conference, don't they? They do. Yes. That is correct. So you want to go? Do you want to talk about the main storyline? Do you want to go through the list? How would you like to format this here's conversation?
Let's go through the list
because 25 to 1 or 1 to 25 or honorable mentions.
I think 1 to 25 is the best place to go.
You want to go down the list?
Yeah, because that becomes the conversation becomes where should he fit in if you're putting him on the list. I think
we are talking about one Lane Kiffin who is not on the list or in the others considered. So we're talking like 40 names, something like that. I don't know how many others considered there are, but there are a few. Top of the list, Nick Saban. Hard to argue there. 7 national titles, 6 in the last 12 years. I mean, we can debate if you like.
Any list that he's not number 1 in, you can immediately throw it out and go, stop.
It's like the number one team knowing exactly who they're taking and still taking 15 minutes to discuss it there when the pick's in. It's like, save us all time.
Prepare for that in April because
I know.
the Jaguars are going to take 14 minutes and 40 seconds.
Just to make sure Trevor Lawrence is the guy they want to take.
Well, they're going to because
Trades and stuff.
ESPN told them to.
Yeah. Dabo Swinney, number 2. Tigers, obviously a powerhouse, 2 national titles, 6 top 4 finishes in the last 6 years. There's a gap between 2 and everybody else. Hard to argue with Dabo not being number 2. I have no issue there.
Yeah, no problem.
Number 3, already starting to be a little interesting, Brian Kelly. Really good teams. He went 4-8 and 16, but since then 43-8.
He's probably not who I would put there, but you can make a very compelling argument for him there.
I would have picked the next guy, Lincoln Riley.
Me too. I would have put Riley third.
He's number 4. Took over Stoops. Done nothing but continue to win big, produce quarterbacks. He's 45-8 in his 4 seasons. Number 7 finish is his worst, and obviously he's got a couple of Heisman Trophy quarterbacks at the same time as well. I will say that did make me feel a little better about Brian Kelly because I will say this: as much hell as I kind of give Notre Dame for being overrated, that Big 12 is not great. Kelly's played a tougher schedule probably than Oklahoma has. So having an equal record gives you at least the potential to have a tie break there for Kelly.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The problem with that, again, you're splitting hairs, but now you're punishing someone for the rest of the league sucking.
You are.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they don't have it. I mean, Oklahoma's won it, what, 6 years in a row or something?
Something like that. 9 out of 10 years or something crazy.
And now here's the most, I wouldn't even say volatile. I would just say guy with plenty of opinions in both directions. Number 5 on their list, James Franklin. Hell of a football coach.
Okay, so I'm trying not to put my recency bias here because he just had a horrific season.
They were awful.
But before that, I would have absolutely argued that he belonged there. And so I'm willing to throw 2020 out as a...
He's won a Big Ten title. Obviously the stuff at Vanderbilt. Now, scumbag of a coach.
Of a guy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're talking about college football coaches here. I mean, this is not the Chamber of Commerce marching up and down the aisle.
Okay, fair enough. It's all relative, I guess, isn't it?
Very. Okay. I don't have a problem. I mean, I think you could argue that that's way too high. But
Vandy's gone 27-55 since he left.
Yeah.
He went 9-4 back-to-back seasons.
And that's a hell of a resume line.
I mean, they suck. And with all due respect to Barton Simmons and Clark Lee, it's going to be a minute before they get relevant at all.
If you gave Nick Saban 7 years at Vanderbilt, what would he do? Not today in his 70s, but if I'd given Nick Saban 10 years ago the Vanderbilt job, do they win?
Is he given the keys? Can they recruit beyond their academic?
It's the Vanderbilt job. I don't know.
He would.
Would he do better than Franklin did?
Yes. Yeah. He would be.
Would he win a title?
National? No.
SEC? Because if you win an SEC title,
I was going to give him the East.
Okay.
Because I think you can be the South Stanford if you really allow him to run his program. That's enough to be in the argument.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Number 6, Jimbo Fisher. Texas A&M.
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, here's the problem: is we're at a point where you're almost kind of on the bubble already here at 6. I'm like, who would you put here? Who would be in this list?
Well, because two or three people have dominated the sport for the last several years.
They're warts here because we just don't know. They haven't won titles. He obviously has a title in his resume.
Yeah,
that helps.
And he's got A&M,
and he's doing a turnaround. There's no doubt of A&M.
They were really good.
So I'm fine with him. I would have had hard time getting him any higher though. This is his ceiling. I don't know where else to put him.
Sure.
The next guy who is too high on this list, one Edward Orgeron. I know he and Bruce are boys, and it is what it is.
We're living off of one meal here. And it was an incredible meal.
He coached potentially the best college football team in history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It is a resume line that is stuck. The ring is on the finger.
No doubt.
But
can't take the banner away. But I mean, maybe you can. The NCAA might.
Fair. You can take the banner. That is one thing you actually can take away is the banner. The memories will stay.
The memories are forever.
But you and I might have won a national title with that team. I mean,
well, here's the thing.
He gets credit.
He gets the credit because he did hire Brady, and he did leave.
Dave Aranda.
He left Aranda alone. He let him do his thing. He did go out and take the chance on Brady and then not Brady, Burrow, and hand him the offense and said, cheers. And other coaches didn't do that. Scott Frost says hi.
I know.
So he belongs on the list because of that, but 7 is way too high.
7's too high.
If you said, hey, you can hire a coach, you get the 7th choice. If we're doing fantasy football, he wouldn't even be on my short list of scouting people.
Mine would have been someone already taken because higher than 8, I would have had Ohio State's Ryan Day.
Yes.
Very small sample size. He just continues to do what Ohio State was already doing.
But I know what I'm seeing.
I think he's a hell of a football coach.
I know what I'm seeing.
I would, in a draft right now, I take him above Jimbo.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's an argument.
I probably would take him above Franklin and Jimbo, if I'm honest.
Probably fair. Because I think in the top of whatever, I think with Day, you got a pretty high floor. You're not going to bottom out. I mean, beyond Saban and Swinney, the guy who would scare me is Brian Kelly in a fantasy draft. I take him, and I just know there's something there that I just can't quite.
I would worry with Kelly that my ceiling was kind of low, but my floor was really high.
And you end up being, like in the NBA, you're just the perennial 4 seed who, okay, great, but you're not winning a title.
That's a great example.
Yeah. You're good, but
You're sort of the Jazz.
Yeah.
Although I'm the guy that still says the Jazz are going to win. But anyway.
Potentially a high upside, especially with the right program. Number 9, Matthew Campbell, Iowa State.
Gotta look at what he's done and where he is.
He could be higher, and I would nod with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem.
35-28 at Iowa State, but that's 35-28 at Iowa State.
Well, when he got there, they were
awful.
Skewing
32-19 the last 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah. Program's highest finished ever, number 9 this past season.
Now, I'm told he's squeaky, which would scare me a little.
And no thanks.
Yeah.
Good. Enjoy it. That's fine. But I know the numbers are there, but too high on the list from the standpoint of an actual football coach, Kirby Smart.
Agreed.
10.
Agreed.
He's not a good football coach.
But see, here's the thing.
He's one hell of a recruiter with the machine.
If they beat Alabama in the one overtime,
I know.
we're
He's
talking,
like 4 right now.
Now we're doing the Orgeron thingy.
Yeah, he's like 4.
But
because he hadn't had clunkers.
But I know the machine that he's got in place, and they're not getting it done.
Yeah. He couldn't have any more advantage than he has right now.
Give James Franklin that machine.
Oh, roll titles up here.
Boy. My point.
Campbell.
Hey, give Jimbo that machine.
Well, okay, fair enough. Too high. 10's too high for Kirby. I don't know where he should be. 10's too high.
Okay.
Because give that machine to our next candidate, and he's winning titles from a pure football mind.
Dan Mullen.
Number 11, Northwestern, Pat Fitzgerald.
Oh, now see, now we're really getting into a conversation because
I
think that's too low.
Yeah, he's up.
Because that's a cat that could go get an NFL job with a phone call. He could call his agent, I don't know who his agent is, and say, I want to coach in the NFL next season, and it would be done.
Probably could stay in town and coach the Bears.
It would be done. He likes where he is. It's a good fit, blah, blah, blah. But, dude, he's really
5
good.
top 25 finishes since 2012 at Northwestern.
I know. Well, I watched their bowl game, I think, against Auburn this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're one of those programs that, by God, they have an identity. If you're a college football watcher, you could take Northwestern, all the stuff off their uniform, and you'd be like, I think that's Northwestern.
Yeah.
They have an identity on both sides of the ball. And if you don't, they'll beat you.
Northwestern went 7-2 in 20. They were actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And somebody upset them.
Yeah. Is it Michigan State?
That feels right.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I remember I think they lined up and beat Iowa pretty early in the year in a game that I watched, and I was like, oh, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Because Iowa turned out to be a pretty good team.
Number 12, somebody we just don't see, Kyle Whittingham, Utah.
Done a hell of a job there. The numbers say that's about right, or maybe even a dash low.
2 top 5 finishes, 7 top 25s.
That's what I mean at Utah.
They'd only had 2 top 25 finishes in school history before he took over.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. And
probably about right.
And he's one of those guys who's like happy there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's not always in the headlines, so you forget about him.
13, Kirk Farron's, Iowa.
That's about right.
Just consistent.
Where's Dan Mullen?
Plods along. He's down here.
Okay. They're very steady. Iowa's very steady. They're never great, but they're never bad. If you hear someone go, man, Iowa's going to suck this year, they're suspect because they don't.
No, they never suck. Ceiling's low, but low-ish from a title standpoint.
Floor's high.
Yeah.
They're the Holiday Bowl participant most every. I know they don't go to the Holiday Bowl, but you know what I mean. They're going to the Outback or the Cap One. Citrus,
They've lived
whatever.
in Florida.
They're in there a lot. Yeah.
14, Stanford, David Shaw.
There was a day where I would have said that's too low, and now I might argue
62-24 at Stanford.
Yeah, they've slipped a little.
Yeah, his recruiting pool is very complicated, very
It
hard.
is.
He has a hard job. Frankly, because of the success they've had, he has a harder job than he gets credit for having.
Now, here's the thing. If you told me I have a fantasy football coaching draft and I'm the 10th or 11th pick, he's on my very short.
I want him above Farron.
He's on my short list, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a little more ceiling there. Somebody who has had a hell of a year. I don't think I would take him at this juncture of his career, though. 15, Gary Patterson, TCU.
Not now.
10 years ago, okay.
Now we're starting to get into the territory where I'm like, see, I could put Lane Kiffin right here.
Yeah. I don't think you could put him yet into the top 14.
This is the first spot where I'd go, yeah, I get it.
At least over that person. Yeah, is what we're saying.
Right.
Yeah, if you had Kiffin in a fantasy draft, you have Kiffin or Patterson, you're taking Kiffin today. Number 16, Dan Mullen, University
And
of
I think
Florida.
that's too low. And
He's a hell of a football coach.
His teams never suck. Ever.
He's a really good football coach.
He won really big at a place that never wins really big. And then he's gone to Florida, and they're better than they were when he got there.
I don't know how high I would put him.
I wonder how much Mullen is paying for his comments about packing
In this list?
packing the swamp.
Yeah.
That's very unpopular with media.
Yeah.
Because media is very COVID. And I mean, even the New York Times admitted that media has gone negative on COVID. So I wonder if he's paying for that a little bit. That was a very politically incorrect thing to do in the world of sports writers.
He transformed State. He has done a good job at Florida. He doesn't have the title or the national implications to get very high, more up the list.
Yeah.
Because he's at Florida. I mean, win. I mean, you're at a spot that can do it. Even though it's a harder job than people think, but still, you can do it.
Yeah, the machine's not there that you think it's there.
No. And it's not as willing to be there that it is at Georgia and Tennessee and other places. Because like Tennessee can't get out of its own way, but the machine is more than ready to go if you could get it going.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fine with it if you wanted to push that button. 17, Lance Leopold at Buffalo. Okay.
He's a rising star.
He's 109 in D3, won
Yeah.
6 national titles.
I mean, a lot of people really like him. I'd take Kiffin.
24-10 at Buffalo.
I would take Kiffin before I took Leopold.
Well, because he's been in the league. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
For
A lot of reasons.
Any number of reasons.
Okay. 18, Jeff Monken, Army.
You know what? He's a really good coach. I'd take
43-21 last 5 years at Army.
I think I'd take Kiffin before I took Monken because of the attention and all that I would get. But you can make a hell of an argument for Monken being almost even underrated there.
I would have to punish Monken for running the option.
Because it'd be hard to sell it someplace that wasn't a service academy or a
Yeah.
academic place.
What are we doing when we're just at a normal school?
And if we're sitting down privately in a truth be told conversation, he might say, you know what, I'd open it wide
I'll
open.
spread the hell out of
I'd
it.
do a lot of different things, but for where I am, this works.
And it does.
And now they're one of those teams that when you watch them on
You know who you're looking
kind of
at.
like Northwestern,
Yeah.
you watch them and you're like, is that Army?
Yeah. Offensively and defensively, actually. They're doing a good job.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. So continue the list in 1 minute. We'll tell you about Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They have immune support med packs that deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync. Fill your prescriptions the same day each month to take care of you, whether it be one trip or carry out the pharmacy or one delivery. You have the medicine you need when you need it. So, again, on the Square in Holly Springs or South Lamar Boulevard in Oxford, 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, they provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity and decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So get in touch with the people at Pinnacle Trust. Sit down with them. Tell them about your goals, your retirement plans, and they'll build a plan just for you. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. Mention you heard about it on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees. Also brought to you by Regency Travel, our friend John Edwards there at Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about planning a trip for this summer, planning a trip for the holiday season, whatever the case may be, great deals to be had right now. Get in touch with John. Give him an idea of what you want to do, some parameters, a budget. He'll give you options that you're not going to find on your own. He'll plan it as detailed or as loosely as you want him to. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB is home to Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And we're brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. Whitney sponsors my mailbag, which is up at rebelgrove.com. She serves you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
So jumping back into the list a little bit, 19, Oregon, Mario Cristobal. I don't have a huge issue there.
No, he belongs on the list. That's probably about right.
25-10 since he took over. Kind of doing what they were doing before.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I have no problem there.
Yeah, it's okay. 20.
Considered to be a very good recruiter, et cetera.
This is too low because I'm buying on futures, but I believe in them. 20, Cincinnati, Luke Fickell.
Yeah.
I want him higher than that.
Yeah, because
there's no way in a fantasy draft I'm taking Gary Patterson over Luke Fickell.
No. In fact, I'm thinking about Fickell super
really
high,
early
because he's going to get a big-time Big Ten gig.
I'd be the
Notre Dame.
GM that went, I know what I'm about to catch here, but we're going to ride with him, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and he's got a good team at Cincinnati. They lined up and went toe-to-toe with Georgia in that bowl game.
31-6, 19-3 in the American. Better football conference than maybe some people think sometimes.
Sure.
And you're at one of them. It's not like, I'm in Alabama beating American. I mean, you're Cincinnati.
No, they're
he
good.
has it in the conversation for the best group of 5 program in the country, along with Central Florida.
Absolutely.
It's one or the other.
Yes.
Take your pick.
Of course.
So, yeah.
It's too low.
Okay. 21, Paul Chris, Wisconsin. They're good.
They're fine.
He's had a hell of a record there. But
it's just you and I have this conversation.
They finished 11th or better 3 times.
We have this argument about restaurants. Not argument. We have a discussion about it. And I'll say, hey, I went somewhere, and you'll say, how was it? And I'll say, it was fine. And we'll always talk about somebody else would say, oh, what was wrong with it? Well, nothing's wrong with it.
That is a good point. The English language sees fine as a negative. It's like, no, it's just fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Would you go there again? Yeah. Am I itching to go there again? No.
Yeah. But I'm not stomping on the table.
No. Would I recommend it to a friend? Sure. I'd say, hey, it's good. It's fine. It's fine. Would I tell a friend this is the greatest meal I've ever had in my life and it's awesome and you should try it because if you don't, you haven't lived yet? And of course not. That's kind of Paul Chris.
Grind says Wisconsin football equals a really good cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Good.
It's good.
But you're never doing, hey, they're winning the national title. They're making a
But if
run.
you tell me I can have Paul Chris or Lane Kiffin, I'm taking Kiffin.
Yeah, Chris, I'm
taking
out.
Kiffin. Because my ceiling.
Chris feels like a Bjork guy.
My
I think
ceiling's
he'd like
higher.
him some Paul Chris.
Yeah, I think so.
Ross would like him some Paul Chris.
Paul Chris is a rich man's Dave Doran.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Still wear the red and white tie and everything when you take him. It's all good.
Yeah.
22. It's too freaking high, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, why?
What has he done to even be on the list
the
other than
college
be really
game?
good at Stanford?
I mean, he had a really good year with the 49ers.
Yeah. No, he didn't say NFL football coach.
No, I know. That's what I said. In the college, he didn't done anything.
No. His record at Michigan, it sucks.
If he didn't have that name and the media obsession with him and his pants and
He has 4 top 20 finishes in 6 years. Okay.
but it's Michigan.
Just third in his division, either every time or every time but one.
It was the first warning sign about Rich Rodriguez. He couldn't win at Michigan. Most people kind of win there.
I mean, the best thing on his resume is he finished number 4 at Stanford before he went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's a line, but
Yeah.
it was a decade ago. Too high. 23, Mike Leach, Mississippi State.
No.
Yeah,
No. No. If I tell you can have Kiffin or Leach,
it's not.
if I tell you can have Kiffin or Harbaugh, who you take? I take Kiffin.
Yeah.
If I tell you I can have Kiffin or Leach, I'm taking Kiffin all day. I'm not even thinking about it. We're to the point of the list where I don't even think about it now. Like there are other names on that list where if you're like, hey, you can have Kiffin or Fickle. Oof, really?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, man. I mean, I'm a little worried about Kiffin's potential volatility, if you will, as a stock. Fickle doesn't feel like it has any volatility there.
No. Yes, Kiffin's.
You tell me I can have Kiffin or Pat Fitzgerald today. I'm taking
Kiffin's the whole elevator.
Yeah,
Up and down the chute.
But now we're getting into people that I'm like, nah, I'll
ride.
I'll
give it a
ride.
shot.
Yeah.
24, Hugh Freeze, Liberty.
This is Bruce. this is when have you ever been an AP voter?
Yeah.
You get to the end of the vote sometimes early in a season. And you're like, okay, well, I kind of have the first 8, 9, and then I've got these next group. And then you get to like 23, 24, and you're checking ESPN to see who has what conference record because you just don't know who the hell's the 24th team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this feels like.
Hugh Freeze, 24. He's a good football coach.
He's fine.
Yeah. I'll take you over Paul Chris.
Oh, I would take
Just football coach?
No, I'd take Chris over Hugh.
Will you?
Yeah, all day.
25, Tom Allen.
Based on what we've seen, that's too low.
He's a good coach.
I mean, based on what we've
He's not Paul Chris on the list because he coaches in Indiana instead of Wisconsin. He would have Wisconsin is exactly where they are or better. He would.
Yeah, Tom Allen's the really good vanilla ice cream, but you mixed in some pretty good fudge ripple.
Good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not the greatest ice cream you've ever had, but you'd get it again.
Here's where this is amazing, though, is we would have taken Lane over a lot of these dudes, and then he doesn't even make the just missed the cut list, which dudes on this list should have made the list too.
Who's on that list?
Scott Satterfield, Louisville.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Ken whatever at Navy.
Yeah.
Done a good job. Chip Kelly, UCLA.
Not today.
No. That boat's passed.
Yeah.
Brian Harsin, Auburn.
Yeah.
Jamie Chadwell, Coastal Carolina. Good coach, but do it again.
Yeah.
I got to see it again.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet.
On my list, but that's where he belongs is on a watch list.
Yeah. Neal Brown, West Virginia.
See, I would argue that he might deserve to be in the 25 before some of the cats that are in it.
Yeah, I at least like some ups. There's some upside I like there with him. There's no doubt about that. Dave Clawson, Wake Forest. He's done a good job at a hard program.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
Okay.
he's in the right place. I thought about him, considered him.
Sure.
I'll look at the resume. Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State.
Well, there was a day where he belonged
Way up there. 12, 13.
But we're sliding.
Yeah, it's starting to. And he's had a lot of off-the-field stuff.
Yeah.
Mark Stoops, Kentucky. He's Tom Allen in the SEC. Vanilla ice cream. Good coach.
Yeah. It's
Hard job.
It's a really good comparison, actually.
Yeah, he's Tom Allen.
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
PJ Fleck at Minnesota. The boat's starting to sink a little bit after last year. Had a hell of a year 2 years ago, but
he committed the coaching sin.
Yeah.
Stayed too long.
Yeah. Mac Brown, North Carolina. He's done a hell of a job.
Nah, but come on.
I'm not putting him on a list, but he's done a hell of a job.
Sure. I'm fine.
You don't want to talk about his 06 title or 05 title at this point?
It's been a minute.
Okay. Bill Clark, UAB. He's where he should be. Good football coach.
Yeah.
Do it somewhere else where we have the conversation,
Yeah.
but good football coach.
But I'm not even – if you tell me, hey, you're picking 24th here, he's not even on my list.
And then the guy who is, I still think, no matter what, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, the dude's staying too long, Billy Napier, ULL. Gambling like a son of a bitch on himself.
Unless there's a reason that he's doing this, and maybe there is. I mean, maybe he is just enamored with Lafayette and says, this is where I want to stay. I want to raise my kids here. I'm going to make plenty of money and be happy, and God knows they won't fire me for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like he's betting on himself a little hard. But now, look, if what he wants is stability and all that stuff, he's got it there. And for all the South Louisiana jokes, there's worse places to live as a wealthy person than Lafayette.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Bug's as big as a jet airplane flying around, but
Got that great brunch place, though.
you love that place.
I do. We could move something.
Chase is like, 10 places in the world you could live.
Yeah.
Can I move that?
I mean, the summers kind of suck, but hey, Lafayette was fine. That and the media relations, Coke machine had the summer shandy in it.
Oh, it did. They were
Yeah.
really cool to us.
Is it Lining Kugel?
Yeah.
Who does it?
Once
Yeah.
they figured out we were not Mississippi State,
That was the key.
once they figured that out.
Because there was an edge at the beginning.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
they
there was-
realized these guys are totally different.
Yeah.
By the end, they liked us.
Yeah, they were ready to kind of war at first. Like they were on their guard.
Well, the more you hear stories, you don't blame them.
No. And it was like, no, it's cool.
Hey,
all good.
no, we're nothing like them.
Go ahead.
Hey, you got beer.
Yeah, you got beer.
I remember saying that.
Well, because it was almost like peace offering. They were like, hey, we have beer. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, awesome.
Yeah, we were looking in there. I was like, are y'all serious?
Yeah, they were very serious.
And they were like,
Yeah.
oh, God. I'm like, oh, I love that stuff. It's 1,000 degrees outside. Can we?
It's a great beer.
Yeah, can we have beer?
It's a great beer.
Literally, it was the icebreaker. They're like, yeah, we got it for you guys. Cool. And at that point, it's like, we're buddies.
God, it is hot though. I mean, it's
hot.
miserable.
We would walk from that parking lot to get into there, and that cool air would hit you, and it was like,
Yeah, you'd lay out for 2 innings. Go, okay, I'll pick it up.
I remember that first day. They're like, hey, we don't have enough seats for y'all, and I'm like, so we can sit in here and watch it? And they're like, yeah. I mean, you can. I mean, we'll do what we can. I'm like, no, I'm good. This is cool. You got beer?
Yeah.
So I can sit in here.
We sat across the street watching it on television with beer. It was just okay. And then on Game 3, I moved out to the field to kind of see the scene in the 7th or 8th inning because some ULL fans were starting to leave, and it was.
That was the first time that I saw actual competition.
Yeah.
With my own 2 eyes was inning 7 of the.
Because I guess even going to the top of the ninth, it was 6-4. 6-4 or 7-5 or something like that, and they broke it open with a lot of runs.
Yeah,
Purdzak hit the triple and it did whatever. But
that was the night that I did the big countdown.
Yeah, because you started
got you really stressed out.
You started the 5th, and I'm like, dude, they lose this game, and we're all out of a job on Monday. Just heads up. But he was counting on the fact that ULL had no bullpen. That was the hope as we moved through the game. Yeah, that was the thought.
I sort of knew what I had seen.
Yeah. Oh Lord, podcast.
All right, so but here's the question.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll tease it with this. We'll pay our final bills. I do want to talk about Avery's Cinnamon Toast Crunch shrimp story. Have you seen that?
I did, yeah.
Okay. This is why sometimes I get, and irritated is not the right word. Maybe frustrated, maybe a little exasperated when it's always like, what job should we worry about with Kiffin? What job should we worry about with Kiffin? And it's like, okay, let's talk about this. Kiffin, I don't know the terms of his new deal, but I'm going to guess it's roughly $5 million a year.
Sure.
So for kicks and giggles, let's call it $5 million a year.
Okay.
How many jobs out there make more than $5 million a year?
Not many.
15?
Tops. I had a list, but sure.
To get one of those jobs, he's got to win. He's got to win steady. I have no idea who's blowing up my phone. He's got, it's my family text. He's got to win. He's got to win consistently. And he's got to look like he's building a program before he gets one of the jobs that could pay him enough money to lure him away from the money, right?
Sure.
So if I tell you, I look into my crystal ball and I say, hey, Lane Kiffin's not the head coach at Ole Miss in 2024. Well, barring something like scandalous,
Yeah.
that means he won.
Yeah, he won.
Big.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I tell you Lane Kiffin's not the coach at Ole Miss in 2022, my very first question would be, so was there a scandal? And if you go, no, there's no scandal. Oh, some bitch, he won 11 games. That's what I would think right off the bat.
Yeah.
If the football gods came down and told you he's not the coach at Ole Miss in 2022, you're like, oh, my God. They went 11-1. Corral was in New York for the Heisman. They blew it up. They knocked off somebody big.
Mm-hmm.
They were in an Access Bowl. If you tell me he's not the coach in 23, it's the same thing. Oh, they won. I mean, I'm asking, and when I say scandal, I'm not hinting at anything. I would say this about any coach.
Yeah, sure.
If you told me, if we're talking about Auburn.
You do ceiling floor.
If you say Brian Harson's not the head coach at Auburn in 2023, my first question was, did he get caught with?
Yeah, it's not because he went 8-4 twice.
Right. I'd be like, oh, okay, so no, he didn't. No scandal?
Yeah.
Some bitch, they won the national title.
16 coaches make $5 million or more.
16.
Yeah.
So there just aren't that many jobs where he can go. And you look at this list, and we pick on Bruce a little bit, but Bruce did a pretty good job with that list. Kiffin's got to do something a little bit more consistently to get into that air.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when people get real worried about it, I always think, what are you worried about?
It's not time.
But even if it is, if his leaving is imminent, that means you are about to have a meteoric season, which is going to allow you to kind of launch pad your program a little bit.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Go to the events page. See everything going on, including the Oxford Film Festival. There's a link there to oxfordfilmfest.com going on through the 28th, starting today. In 4 different locations around the Commons area off Sisk and Highway 7 there in Oxford. They've got the normal Q&As that go with the film festival, as many other things. And remember, the double-decker bus tours continue 2 weeks from now when Ole Miss returns for SEC baseball home action, 3 and 4 o'clock on Fridays for that. So to find out more, find links for all these different things, visit oxfordms.com/events.
We're also brought to you by Bain, Moss & Bowen. Located in historic downtown Corinth, their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss & Bowen's the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard. You can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or by calling them at 662-287-1620. Also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl. It is your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it. They've got Load Trail. They also have Hallmark cargo trailers. For podcast listeners, they have spare tires and wheels starting at just $100, a full selection of trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They also do all types of truck accessories. Listeners can get 10% off a yearly trailer service and inspection at Alpha's full service shop. They can repair all types of trailers, concession, horse, utility, enclosed, gooseneck, RV, and more. 601-932-9798 or alphaofms.com. And we're brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, and hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. They've been advertising with us for more than 2 years. We've always told you to go DM them to set up a time to get measured. But now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can visit Blue Delta Jeans to get measured by their new virtual tailor and design your own jeans. And just for our podcast listeners, enter discount code REBELGROVE. That's all lowercase, one word. At checkout, take 10% off your order. Most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. You'll feel the same way, too. And we're brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue, your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylists hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Duckhead, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and many more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com.
So well, you mentioned the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the shrimp. It is kind of taking over the internet here in the last few days.
Is this because of Topanga more than anything?
Well, he's a comedian, Jensen Karp. He's got 100-something thousand followers. Okay. Which, his line of work and him being whatever, I do get the cereal company going, hey, are you pranking? You're a comedian. Like, are we doing this really, or is there something going on? Because at first they said it was not actually shrimp. It was pieces of sugar and things that had just morphed together. And it's like, okay, well, no, that's not the case. It's shrimp. It looks like shrimp. And now they've come back and said that it's tampering, that it did not happen at their facility, that it is something that had to happen post-production, if you will, from that point. They come out on Twitter. They said that, let's see, March 23rd at 12:12, so yesterday just after noon. However, it's not the first time they've dealt with this. They are owned by General Mills, and they had to contend with shrimp where they don't belong. In 2011, the company sued a Michigan blueberry packer after a shipment which was intended for future use in blueberry scones, was found to be contaminated with pieces of shrimp, the paper reports. So they've actually had something before in this realm. He also says he found what he thinks is a piece of pistachio and potentially some rat feces in the box as well.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah. He's having it tested by a lab per eater. But yes, he is married to Danielle, whatever her name is, that was Topanga on Boy Meets World.
When did that show come out? Because that feels like that was a little after my time.
It's after your time, and it's not really in my wheelhouse either. That's not something I watched. Let's see. 93 to 2000. So it probably should have been in my wheelhouse, in my lexicon, but it's not. I was 10 when it started.
Danielle Official.
Yeah, her. So, whatever. I buy it. I think he's telling the truth at this point. And I know weird stuff gets in packages all the time. I mean, things are mass-produced. It's not perfect. I'll even give a little bit of whatever. But my hunch says it was not tampering. My hunch says this did happen through the box somehow in the facility.
Oh, you think it happened at the facility?
I guess.
And you don't think he's making it up. You think he's telling the truth.
At this point, I do. I think if he was making it up, he would have already made it up by now and already said, hey, whatever.
Because if he's making
this up... He doesn't
strike
me as the frivolous, I'm going to try to take down General Mills type. Like...
Because Topanga's going to leave him if this is the case, right?
Well, 100%.
I mean,
yeah.
she's out.
Her Q rating's pretty high. She can't be the...
She can't stick
she
with
can't
somebody.
be the undoer of the cereal company.
No.
I think I believe him. I really do. I'm.
This feels like a hell of a risk if he's not telling the truth.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't know. I'm curious where it goes though. I'm all in. I mean,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch says there's no possibility of cross contamination with shrimp.
Yeah.
They're pretty emphatic about that.
Yeah, maybe they're right. I mean, okay. Here's the thing though. How many boxes are tampered with? Because I have a hard time believing just the one that ends up in a comedian with 150,000 followers.
Well, that's kind of my thing.
That means this is pretty.
They picked
common.
One box,
and it
just so happened to go to Topanga's husband.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I mean it'd be like Cheerios has an issue, and the one box went to Giselle. I mean, like okay, like great. So
she's aged pretty well.
Topanga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did Girl Meets World or whatever here recently. They did like the spinoff. So, yes. Baseball America put out their completely meaningless field of 64 this morning, but it gets clicked and get talked about. That's why they do it. Heads up there. But just show you where Ole Miss is currently. They have them the number 6 overall seed. They would be in this matched up with number 11 seed Oregon, Oregon State, Southern Miss, and Jacksonville State, the 3 other teams in Oxford.
So now we break down. Let's break those teams down.
Yeah, Oregon, here's what they do. Here's what they do well. Arkansas the 1, State the 2, Vandy the 3, Louisville the 4, Texas Tech the 5, Ole Miss the 6, East Carolina the 7, Georgia Tech the 8, Texas the 9, Florida the 10.
So in that, there's 4 SEC teams that are
in the top 8.
Top 8s.
Yeah, and then Florida at 10. Oregon 11, Notre Dame 12, UCLA 13, North Carolina 14, and Pitt 15. Tennessee 16 actually sneaks in too, so as a host. So yeah, there's that. Barring rain, we will have a show for you tomorrow night from a live show standpoint. 6 o'clock is the start time scheduled, but again, it's looking pretty rough in Tuscaloosa tomorrow night. So we'll update you in all the places we know how. as to what we're doing for that one. But we'll watch the game. We'll talk about it. We'll tell some stories. We'll do whatever else as the day moves on tomorrow night. So either way, Ole Miss, Alabama starting this weekend, all 3 games. And that's it. Have a good day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.